Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. A little while ago, I did an upload, Dogman attack or missing 411. Waiting for the interview with Luke. I got in touch with Luke finally, and this is the interview we have all been waiting for. Hopefully this is the last interview we have with Luke. I know he doesn't want to have any more interviews regarding the Walking Wolves. So before we get into the interview, a couple of links. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. All those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fan fiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that really don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, follow that link and give those stories a listen. You may just like what you hear. Now I've taken enough of your time, and you guys really want to hear Luke, so let's get on with today's upload. Shall we? Alright guys, as promised last night, our friend Luke is back. This is a guest that I never ever get sick of talking to. I remember when he first sent me his very first encounter, he sent it in increments, and I knew this guy was special. Like, he was just a real good guy, and unfortunately he's got a lot of bad stuff happening to him and his family for generations. So right now I'm going to give you guys Luke. Luke, how are you tonight?
Hey guys, I'm alright right now, though. So it's been a very, very tough, stressful few days, man. But I'm hanging in there. I'm actually at my in-laws, so not in-laws, but my wife's house right now, because my property no longer feels safe on my property at all.
So I kind of shared with everybody a little bit of what I could. So pretty much, if you could, can we start from right after you get out of the hospital, you're healing up, and the agents pretty much say, hey, everything's good, right?
Yeah, so, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So, the initial contact when that kid came to my property, his superior sent him to talk to me about renting my property up, but things went south really quick as far as like the wolf, and then the kid panicking, and then me ending up getting injured and stuff like that. So I ended up renting my property to them. I had to sign some paperwork and stuff like that. So I was like, at the end of the day, there's more firepower for me in case these things come by. I'll have backup. So I was like, it's a win-win situation for me. So these guys was at my property for like maybe I'll say about 4 or 5 days, and then they come knocking on my doors like, we have to leave. These things change course. So where our other group is gonna meet them, head them off. So I was like, all right, fine, that's good. So I'm like, they're not coming back down this time around, which I was happy about that. So, told my wife everything was good. So, a couple of days later, like my wife works in a city about around 40-minute drive, She has to go down like one of these desolate roads before she gets to like the main highway or stuff like that. So just like any other day, she has to leave about an hour early, so it's still like dark outside. Not dark, but it's dark outside. So what I usually do, like when I have her wake me up when she leaves, I stand by the door, make sure she gets in her car safely and stuff like that before she drives off and stuff, so then get back in bed. So just like any other day, she goes home. I think she's like maybe 20 minutes into her drive. Something darts across her car, which causes her to ditch it. Like, I think the ditch was like, it wasn't like deep, but I guess the angle that her sedan was in, she wasn't able to pull it out. So she knew the kind of condition that I was in. So she was like, she wasn't going to call me. She was calling Triple H. No, not Triple H. Triple H is the wrestler. I'm sorry. I mean Triple A. So she sees something like dart across in her rearview mirror. And so she gets scared. So instead of dialing Triple A, she dials me. So I'm like, I'm not asleep, I'm awake, but I'm still like type groggy. So I answer the phone, and then like she's hysterical, crying, screaming, something here, come get me. So like I sober up real quick. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on. My heart just literally sank to my feet. I'm like, I can't find anything. First thing I do, call my dad, like, yo, Dad, come over here, come watch the kids. I got to go to my wife. I grab my bag of guns. Because prior to my incident, I went shooting, practicing and stuff like that. So I hop in, because I have a Sierra. So I hop in my Sierra, so I'm barreling down the road. Because I know the road that she takes, like, hoping that I can catch up to her in time. And she's on the phone just crying. And then I just hear, like, things, like, going on in the background. So I'm like, yo, I'm praying to God, like, yo, please let me get there in time. Please let me get there in time. So as I'm approaching the car, like, I have my brakes on, so I see her car in the ditch. So I was able to get behind her and stuff like that on an angle. So, like, I slowly, like, I took my SOCOM. I had the strap around my shoulders. So I exit the vehicle. I'm surveying all the areas, looking around. Have my tactical light, just making sure everything's clear. I didn't see these things in sight. So I get my wife out the car and tell her to get in the truck, lock the doors, get behind the driver's side. So I got a tow chain, so I hook it up to underneath the back bumper because there's this little slot that I can hook it up to. All right, so as I do that and I'm getting ready to get everything moving, I notice two of these walking wolves coming off on probably my right side. So I have my gun pointed to them, ready to shoot. First thing I noticed was one of those wolves was the same wolf that collided into me the day when I got shot by that agent. So I'm like waiting to see what they was going to do. Safety off, everything just ready to go. Then all of a sudden I hear this growl, like it was almost demonic. I've heard these things growl before. I've seen them. I felt them. I heard them. I felt their strength. I felt the kind of fear that they put. But this thing, something felt wrong about this thing. I'm like, oh shit, one of these things got behind me. And like, I'm like, how can I be so fucking stupid? Like, I always watch my six. So as I'm slowly turning around, the other two take off. And then like about 25, maybe 30 feet from me, or a little further, I wasn't really able to gauge it. I see this thing, this freaking wolf, jet black, almost 9 foot tall, red eyes. I never seen, as long as I've lived, as long as I've been on my property, as long as I have encounters with these things, I never seen one the way that that won't look. Red eyes, like a pronounced snout, like a timber wolf, just bigger. Teeth, not overcrowded, but enough to do the job. And this thing, like, the way it looked like it's been around for a very long time, and it knows how to deal with our kind, no matter how skilled we are. I had this feeling like this was the first time I felt dread. I mean, I think this was beyond dread. It had me. I couldn't move. I was terrified for the first time in my life. Like, I was like, yo, what the hell is this thing, yo? I see what it is. I know what it is, but it's different. It's slightly different. Like, it was a soldier type thing. And it had me, like, and my wife in the background was just crying, and I couldn't do anything. I was scared. I felt true fear for the first time, left me paralyzed. Any other time, I would have been able to pull out my gun and just knew what to do. But this thing, an alpha, like, man. So, I'm thinking, like, all right, I'm telling my wife that, like, if this thing charges me, just leave me and go. She's like, I'm not leaving you. So she takes out her handgun because she's trained in self-defense and firearms training and make sure she had all of that stuff. So she has the gun pointing at it. So he takes a glance at her and then looks at me. I tell her to put it down. Because at the end of the day, yo, she's just going to piss it off. And that being said, those two took off. I didn't know where they went. And I don't know if there was more. I didn't know if it was just those three, if I'm dealing with a whole group of them. So at the time, my bag was in the passenger seat. I was like, all right, I was about a foot and a half arm length from the door of my truck, and this thing was like, I had the position. It was ahead of her car, like about the front of her car towards the right, and then where I met those walking wolves, they was flanking from the driver's side of her door towards the back. So that was the distance between them. And so I'm by the door. This thing is off in front, about 25, 30 feet up ahead. Standing about not too far from her car. So I tell my wife to just go in my bag and just like tell me what she sees and stuff like that. So she goes in there, like a couple of handguns, this, that, and the third. She's like, there's a canister here. So I remember the canister. I got the canister because one of my friends, I'm not gonna say who he is though, but he works SWAT. But so I was able to get one of those things from there. So I told her to hand it to me, and this is what I wanted her to do. I told her, like, I'm gonna attempt to throw this. I want you to roll the windows up and close your eyes. Once I let this go, I'm gonna jump in the car. And once you hear it go off, then I want you to drive like hell. So I have it in my hand. The minute I go to pull it, this thing sees it, jumps up. I'm figuring towards me. But once I tossed it, I wasn't even able to give it a good toss because the weight at the speed this thing leaped was unfathomable. only able to, like, I pretty much, like, threw it like I discarded it, like maybe 3 or 4 feet away from me. And the minute the thing leaped, I'm trying to jump in the car. She peels out. I'm hanging onto the seat. My legs are dangling outside the car, which caused me to tear a couple of my stitches, because I'm holding on for dear life. The thing goes off. And she's the one who told me that, like, when the thing went on, it moved. It maneuvered. It's not like it's like it was flying, and it was able to maneuver in an angle where the only thing that the flash grenade did was just affect its hearing. So we go to the emergency room and stuff like that. I get stitched up, and they ask me what happened and this like that. So I can't tell them that. I can't tell him that I had an encounter where he's walking through. So then I told him I'm feeling a lot better, so I figured I'll go for a jog, and I ended up tearing my stitches, pushing myself too hard. They didn't buy it though, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I was able to get in contact with with the kid supervisor. I never got the guy's name, so that's why I can't. Even if I did get his name, I don't think I would be able to relinquish it over there without any sort of consequences. So I told him what happened, and he said, he questioned me, like, what did it look like? How big was it? So I told him, and so he was like, I'm sending guys over there again. So he's taking him a few days to get there. So that being said, I think a couple of days go by, they haven't arrived yet. I was talking to you, Jeff, briefly about what went down and stuff like that. But prior to that, I decided to put my house not on the market, sell my house, which is actually have a buyer. It's pretty much bought. So probably before the end of next month, actually able to move all my things out of there. But anyway, I was talking to you just the other night, telling you what was going down.
Yep.
And like how I felt and everything, like what this thing was. And I sent my wife and my kids, went to their aunt's house. I stayed back with the property, which was a big mistake, because once I got off the phone with you, I called my dad. He came over. So we was just talking, like he's asking me what happened, this, that, and the third. So I'm asking him, like, did he ever see anything like that? What I described, he was like, no, it's the first time he heard of it. So I was trying to figure out what we saw. Like, we was in the living room at the time. I heard tapping on the window, and so I already knew what it was, tapping on the window. So I slowly went to the window with my gun in hand, and I saw the red eyes again. So this time I was ready for it. I thought I was ready for it. So as I raised my gun towards it, it took a look over his right shoulder, asking to look behind me, and I see a pair of like 6 to maybe 7 glowing orange amber colored eyes from the wood line, like positioned in like different areas, and those were the only ones that I could see. I knew there had to be more, probably surrounding the house. So in other words, he was telling me if I shoot him, I'll die tonight.
Right.
So we go to the basement, because the basement is like the safest part in the whole entire house. It's pretty much reinforced concrete. We have a steel cellar door, And like we took as much guns as we could, and we stayed there overnight. None of us slept when it went. Just taking shifts, but we couldn't really sleep. And in the morning, when everything was like cleared instead of done, we just left. And we haven't been back for this whole day. We're not going back. I'm sorry. Go back during the day to get our things, but that's about it.
Right. You can't, I mean, like I said when I was talking to you earlier, prior to recording this, I said there was subscribers that were glad that you were leaving your property. I mean, they feel the pain that your family is going to go through, your dad and yourself, leaving this property that's been in your family for generations. But like you said, your kids are what comes first. Can you share what happened when you went to your car and why I emphasized on your kids, please?
Yes. So we got a tow truck to go get the sedan. At the time, it's a Nissan Altima. I forget what year it is. So tow truck gets there. We get there and stuff like that. The car is ripped to shreds. The freaking ripped to shreds. The freaking literally ripped the door off. Piss, urine, all over the seat. And then to realize that my wife told me that the kids' teddy bears was gone, and it's always in the back seat, which led me to believe this thing got my kid sent. This freaking thing has my kid sent. So I can't stay here no more. My kids are in danger, man. It has my kid sent. It's personal. It really is.
Yeah, now it's at
sorry, Joe. I'm sorry, but if I see that, I can't guarantee anything, but I will do what I have to do to protect my family at all costs.
Luke, I think what you're doing by you leaving your property, I think that's doing what you can do. You're giving up something that means so much to you to protect your wife and your kids. But if you were to go and play hero, go out and try to shoot it out with this thing, your kids would be without a dad, and that would be even more devastating for them too. So what you're doing is you're doing the right thing. And when he says he's moving hundreds of miles away. I'm not going to disclose where he's going, but it's hundreds of miles in a completely opposite direction. So he's doing it very intelligently. I want to touch bases on the creature, the alpha, whatever this thing was. Your friend, when you were younger, Big Red, was huge, and he took out 3 or 4. This thing would have just.
It would have took him out. The way this thing had, when I looked into its eyes, this thing had a prehistoric intelligence, almost like a human, but like a Neanderthal intelligence. And I've never seen any of that thing I haven't seen anything like that when I looked into these things' eyes, And this thing it just felt different. It felt like it knew it was the alpha. It has destroyed anything and everything in its path. And if that was to go against my friend Joe, Big Red Joe, I have no doubt in my mind that Big Red would lose that fight.
And when Luke is gonna eventually write this all out for me, just this last part, or I'm gonna write it out, and then I'm gonna combine all of everything. So you guys won't have to go and backtrack. But Big Red, when Luke was about 20, he was involved in an altercation, saving Luke from 3 or 4 Dogmen. And he's not a slouch fighter. So for him to say this is definitely, this thing is definitely something. And we talked about it for a good hour last night, trying to, just figure out what the hell it is. It's like, it's leading a pack of 30, I think you said, that agent said to you?
Yes. But he will not disclose the area.
Right. So to lead a pack of 30, you have to have, to even if like a foreman on the job, can pretty much maintain 10 guys. You're talking 30 wild animals that are just hungry and just terrifying. This thing has got to be equally terrifying and more. So I don't know. I think you're doing the smartest thing and the safest thing. Luke's dad is going with them. And like I said, this is a heartbreaker for his whole family. So I'm going to keep his family in my prayers. I hope you guys do.
Thank you.
Well, you've been...
Oh, man, I'm getting emotional, bro.
Yeah, I know. You've been nothing but a great... since I've known you, you've been a great guy. I've enjoyed talking to you. I know everybody has enjoyed listening to you and hearing your encounters.
I try to, for whatever I learned from these things, only thing if people don't believe in these things, that's fine, though. But at the end of the day, I just want people to be safe,
Yeah.
Because, I have friends now. I have a family, and the worst thing I want somebody to do is just go somewhere and not just, be aware of your surroundings. You don't have to believe in these things to be safe, At the end of the day, just treat the situation like you treat if you know you're going to an area that has bears or mountain lions, Keep some kind of protection with you. Go in some groups, These things, whether you believe them or not, God forbid you run into these things, At least you'll know what you need to do. Even if you hear my story, just take it with a grain of salt. Just have that in the back of your head. God forbid, all right, so these shits are real. This is what I need to do. At the end of the day, you don't challenge that. It looks for a challenge.
Right.
It wants you to challenge it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it wants to dominate you.
When you first saw this thing and confronted it, well, it confronted you because there's no confronting it. It knew your fear and grinned at you. It looked into your.
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
When I looked at it, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I swallowed myself. And when I did that, it sniffed the air, it smelled it, and grinned. We was talking about this because you brought up a point. So the one that got killed on my property that we buried, and Victor couldn't find it. Me and my dad went back over there, and the body was gone.
Right. So
you saying that what if it was one of its part of one of its pack? And they knew that I was telling the guy about the guy in Pennsylvania, watch out about his tent. I forgot my scent was all over that thing.
Right. Absolutely.
And then I think that they used my wife to get to me, and the shit was set up strategically.
Absolutely.
Because it didn't come out. It did not come out till I got there. She didn't see that one till I got there. It was waiting for me.
Right. Everything that it's done has shown intelligence above. I mean, yes, these things are intelligent. They're cunning. But this thing has shown intelligence almost human level and more fighting wise. It used your wife as as to draw you out of the house because it knew that you would come. Then it takes your kid's stuffed animal, gets the scent to, track you. It goes to your home, has you cornered in your house, looks behind it to say, hey, look what I brought with me. Take the shot, buddy. Take the shot. It's definitely, yeah, it's got some sort of intelligence that, like you said, is primeval, primordial.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
It's not normal. It is the primeval. It's the aura the aura that this thing was given was like, it was almost demonic. Not saying that it was a demon, but that's what it felt like. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. That's all right.
I was shaking, yo. I was shaking. I'm still shaking. Every time I picture it, I'm shaking. Oh my God, this is fucking unreal, man.
At least you're off the
property.
Sorry, I'm
losing my composure.
Bro, don't worry about it. At least you're off the property. You're doing the best thing you can do. I know that a lot of everybody who was thinking about you is going to be happy that you're leaving. There's nothing more you can do. It's either, do what you're doing or pay the ultimate price, and the price is not worth it. So hopefully this chapter in your family's life will finally come to a close. I
hope so too.
I pray for
I'm
that.
tired, Jim.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I can't. I'm at my wit end with this, man.
So, this has been hard for Luke to share. I'm gonna end the interview. Luke, is there anything that you'd like to end tonight with?
I want to thank everybody for their support and prayer. It surely means a lot to my family in this tough time and things like that. I just want everybody to just stay safe and just be aware of surroundings. If it doesn't feel right, obviously it's not. Like I told you last time, trust your instincts. God gave it for you for a reason. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing, and God bless.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Wow. That's exactly how Luke sounded last night when we were talking. Actually, worse last night. And we didn't do the interview. He's just concerned for his wife and kids, and he is doing probably the smartest thing he can do. And I feel bad that they're selling the property. That his great-grandfather lived on. Grandfather, dad, him, kids, 5 generations. So, yeah. And whatever this thing was, is terrifying. Luke and I discussed it for a little bit, and we passed around some ideas. I did get an email from a subscriber who suggested it was a combination of Dogman werewolf, genetically in the wild. That combination would not happen, per Victor, but in a scientific setting, anything is possible. That could be. And as we were talking about it, I said, that makes a lot of sense. I said that would describe the height, the strength, the intelligence, the eye color, the different in snout, teeth. yet still have a tail, and the legs still resembled Dogman. So, I don't know. All I know is I am keeping Luke, his kids and wife and dad in my prayers, and all of Taylor, Mississippi. All of you that live there, you live in a hot spot, and I guess if I were to guess on any scale of top listings of encounters or Dogman being, I would say Taylor, Mississippi is right up there. Anywhere between 3 to 1. I don't know. I don't know anything, I'm learning every day, like everybody else. So the only thing I can share is my ideas and what I've heard from other people and my brief encounter. So with that, I want to thank everybody for the support of the channel, and we got a really good community. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And I'm very proud and happy and honored to be a part of this community that you guys helped me create. So may the Great Spirit watch over all of us, and may the Great Spirit guide us through our path on a daily basis. With that, farewell.